There is a Rashtriya Karyakarani, which is the national executive, 13 members. Then there is the Pratinidhi Sabha, which is about 262 members.
What is at the bottom?
Sorry?
What is representing the general body?
Pratinidhi Sabha.
Pratinidhi Sabha.
Pratinidhi Sabha. But of course, you can't hold a meeting of all the members of the party all over Maharashtra.
I'm just asking for information.
Yes. So there's a tier system. There's a tier system.
Is at the is virtually like a general body.
Yes. There's a tier system by which people are both appointed and elected.
Pratinidhi Sabha.
Yes, Pratinidhi Sabha.
And Mr. Sibal, possibly this line of argument of yours is also buttressed by 2B of the 10th schedule,
Yes.
which says if he votes or abstains from voting in such house, contrary to the direction issued by the political party to which he belongs,
Yes.
or by any person or authority authorized by it in this behalf.
That's correct.
So the whip is really a person who is authorized by the political party.
That's correct. That's correct. That's how it functions. That's how
Because the direction has to be given by the political party. It can't keep on giving a direction. It's a larger body.
Yeah, that's right.
So therefore, it delegates its power and it authorizes a person who will then issue a direction on which way to vote in the assembly.
In matter when it came up before the law commission, it will be disastrous for democracy, disastrous for the country if the legislature party is allowed to act independent of the political party.
So the actual whip, without, it says, or by any person or authority authorized by it in this behalf.
Correct. I read that.
So yes. So the party really nominates or authorizes a person.
That's correct.
And the act of defection lies in voting or abstaining from voting contrary to a direction given by the party or by that person.
I want to ask myself, supposing there's a bill in parliament, the legislative party on its own can't decide what the position will be.
Right.
It cannot. Naturally, there'll have to be consultation with the party because they are not living in a side, they are not acting as a separate entity.
They are really the voice of the party in parliament or the state legislature.
That's correct.
It's the political party.
The genus is the party, they are the species.
Yes.
Yes.
The political party which either sends the MLAs who, because of majority, form the government.
Yes.
Or they could even send members of legislative assembly who will be sitting in the opposition.
That's correct.
So nevertheless, the controlling factor
has to be the party.
Will be the political party.
Yes.
Which will, through its MLAs, operate either as...
Because they are there because of the party.
Their mandate is the mandate of the party.
That's correct.
And therefore, how they function in the house is determined by the mandate which has brought them into the house.
That's correct. Exactly, Madam.
You have no and I think that seems to be a fair understanding of the 10th schedule also.
10th schedule has
to be linked to it.
Mullahs, you have to maintain the integrity of the political party within the house, its programs, its views on reservation, its views on the 10th schedule, its views on Mullahs, foreign policy. Individual members of the legislature don't decide on foreign policy issues, Mullahs, the party decides. And party systems are such that you have committees where people who are in the past also, who are members of the party, who have experience in foreign policy, who have been ex-ministers of foreign policy, they become members of the committee, they advise the party as to what position should be taken, and a matter comes up, the legislators are only told that this is what should be done. Within that framework, you can make your case out.
So they articulate the views of the party in the House.
That's correct.
Yeah.
One important distinction is... Sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
Yes, you tell them.
Well, just to take 15 seconds, a bizarre example of how the party governs. Very interesting, apropos Lordship, because I happen to be chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Law in 2011, and the most contentious Lokpal bill came. We had a report signed by all except 3 dissents. 3 dissents are all, every 31-member committee, which is a mini parliament, everybody signed, all political parties, 17 political parties. Matter went to Rajya Sabha. All of them supported the report because they had signed it. Overnight, whereas the party stand of one particular party, I'll not name it, changed. The matter came to Lok Sabha. The same party which has signed took a different stand in Lok Sabha because the instructions from the party to the legislative wing of the Lok Sabha was that no, this has to be opposed. Lokpal has to be opposed. This is in the record of Parliament. So when the party decides, this is an extreme example that the party which had agreed with the report actually opposed it in Lok Sabha because the members are only legislators, but they received the instructions it's an important, well-known regional party, but the policy changed that no, we must oppose Lokpal, therefore it was opposed in Lok Sabha. So that
There'll
was
be
the
any
best
number-
validation of this kind of example.
Any number of examples like that, any number of examples.
It's a reverse engineering.
It's a political issue on so many other factors.
The legislative members controlling the party is actually reverse engineering.
Yes, Your Lordship is right. Exactly. Therefore, these documents become exceptionally important because they will determine the outcome of this litigation. If you give validity and legality,
So, Mr. Sibal, we have seen all the documents now?
not yet, Mother.
All right.
I'm
No,
just-
because the next step, I was going to request you to formulate it in 2 or 3 submissions for us, but you can complete the documents and then
Yes,
give us
Mother,
a
yes. I-
brief formulation of 2 or 3.
No, Mother, then I have to read Your Lordship some judgments which actually deal with it.
Before we go into the judgments, you can just formulate it for us in
Yes,
2
I
or 3
will.
submissions.
I
We'll
will.
take it down,
I
but
will.
let's complete the document,
Yes.
then the formulation and then the judgments.
Yes, let me just quickly go through the documents now.
Yes.
Now, Malas, there is no reference to any meeting of the party. There is no reference to any grievance made prior to this date. They are all members. He was serving as a minister for 2.5 years. There is no reference to any grievance that he has ever had. No reference. No reference to any statement he made in any organizational election. No reference. Suddenly could not have happened on the 21st of June, Malas. This sudden realization that this great injustice has been done, Malas. Obviously, this was planned. Malas, if anybody had any grievance of this nature, it would be in public statements, it will be in organizational meetings. After all, this is from 2018, we are in 2023 now, Malas. Not a single statement anywhere. So obviously, and what this statement is being made from Assam. Why Assam? So it's not something, it's all pre-planned, it's a conspiracy, it's not something that happened overnight. And you're talking about poll promises. Let me, Malas, talk of history then. Malas, the poll promise was broken at the time when Malas, Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar were sworn in the early hours of the morning by the governor. What about that poll promise? So let's not go into politics.
I was just going to say that now you are trenching into
No.
politics.
No, but this is all politics.
You are now leaving the area of constitution.
No, I know. But Malas, I said it in the context of the grievance that he has made. He has made a grievance of poll promise.
No, we are not at all, Mr.
Yes.
But that we will not.
So, Malas, let's go. That's why I said we are. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm-
but in state, sir.
But therefore, Mr. Sibal, ultimately, I mean, we are just sort of pushing your argument to its logical conclusion in constitutional terms.
Yes.
Therefore, what you are saying is that, look, when Eknath Shinde was nominated as a group leader and the whip was then nominated, the whip was also notified, it was at the behest of the party,
Yes.
albeit at the MLA's meeting.
Correct.
An alteration of that position was made at the meeting which was chaired by Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. The legislators could not have either abstained from the meeting which was convened by the party president, nor could the legislators have replaced the whip or the group leader.
That's correct.
So that all that they did was really therefore was contrary to law and therefore invited a disqualification under the 10th schedule. All this really then leads us to this, that therefore they have incurred
The disqualification.
they have incurred a disqualification.
That's correct.
Now, having said that, therefore, this is therefore a case where the speaker has to ultimately decide upon the disqualification which they have incurred, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I understand.
That is, Mr. Sibal,
what
that is an area which we are not able to come to bridge.
I will, Malas, I will. Yes. Yes. Yes, I made that argument, Malas. Yes. I will try and, Malas,
Of course, the constitutional position of the speaker to decide.
Malas, I tell your lordship the problems in that area. But kindly
Just
just,
problems in the area, we see that. But,
We understand.
also we understand the significance of the point which you have made, which is a very significant point for constitutional democracy, that ultimately the party is supreme.
yes,
And legislators get there into the House or the Parliament or the Legislative Assembly on the mandate of the party, what the party means to the people.
correct.
Therefore, you are really elected as a representative of the party. Your behavior must be governed by what the party dictates.
Yes.
And a group of legislators, whether you are 1/3 or 1/10
Doesn't matter.
or even 75%,
That's right.
cannot be really determinative of the wishes of the parties. You can alter that position if the party authorizes you, or you leave the party.
Correct.
So far, so good. I mean, that's a very significant point which you have made. But
I understand.
the next point. I mean, what is the consequence?
Yeah, I will, but I'll
That is-
attempt.
Which you are really telling us that, look, the facts stare you in the face. Now, why go to the speaker?
Yes, that's what my submission is. What is
There are
it
two
that the
folds.
speaker is going to do in this?
It could be twofold. One, as you say, well, the speaker himself cannot be trusted as an impartial arbiter.
I withdraw that, Maharaj, because we are talking about the constitutional
That's
position.
right.
Maharaj.
The second would be where the facts are so clear.
Yeah,
Then you take the decision where the
Yeah.
speaker ought to have decided that there is only one and one conclusion.
that's right.
That, Mr. Sibal, honestly, that is a matter of disquiet for speaking for myself. I mean, should the court be taking into that, entering into that area? That's an area of.
Your lordships have been persuaded in the past. I hope to persuade you in the future as well.
It has very serious ramifications, just as yours, the ramifications.
I will, Maharaj, address your lordships on that.
The ramifications which you have referred to for constitutional democracy, if individual legislators start bucking the party discipline, really there are very serious ramifications that we start taking over these functions.
Very dangerous.
No, Maharaj, what happened was,
Very,
in one particular case, which is the Constitution bench, Maharaj, where they said that this illegality cannot be continued even for a day. So we will take the decision.
because
They are occupying the post of the minister. This cannot continue even for a day. I will not send it back. We will.
Right or wrong, this is the system which we have now assumed to ourselves as we the people. And when the courts try and breach the system, it's a very.
No, Maharaj, I understand.
That's what is worrying us. I mean,
Maharaj,
put it to you right up at the forefront.
Quite frankly, a constitutional court should be worried, because if you create this as a precedent, it can happen in other situations as well, and that not be a good precedent. But I am not disputing that. Please, I am not, I know the limitations of a constitutional court.